So moving on to this next topic, it's going to be pretty unfocused because it's going to be more of me just kind of like talking out loud, processing my own thoughts and emotions. Because this is like a topic that kind of hit me a little bit harder than even I was expecting. And when I reach some pauses and moments of having to recollect my own thoughts and not being sure what to say, I'm probably just going to mutter, "Please don't kill yourself." So the topic that I want to talk about is former member of K-pop girl group FX, Sully.
Korean pop star Sully was found dead at home. The 25-year-old's body was discovered when her manager went to visit her after Sully had not answered phone calls for hours, police said.
Has it been confirmed suicide? I mean, like, all signs are pointing to that because they found her and they found a note by her, right?
It hasn't been confirmed as suicide because what they found was a notebook, which happened to be her journal, but it wasn't an official note. But so far, the death is ruled a cardiac arrest. There's no foul play. They just have to do more investigation to confirm it is a suicide or not.
So, again, yeah, please don't kill yourself. Even if we don't 100% know it's a suicide, I figure we could use it as a talking point because in the past year, like, mental health has been like even more on my radar than ever. And
I don't know if you know, like, Sully's downward spiral. Like, I don't know if you followed her after she left FX.
Would you mind recapping some of it?
So after she left FX, I guess for exhaustion, and she just didn't want to do it anymore, and then she took a hiatus, and every time she would appear in the media, it was like she would do some kind of, like, stunt that would be kind of, like, controversial in Korea. Like, for example, like, her boyfriend that she had was, like, much older than her, and they would have, like, she would post pictures of her, like, she's clothed, but she's obviously braless, and that's, like, a huge, like, no-no over there. That's really scandalous over there. And, like, she would always, like, do, like, these weird stunts that would be kind of, like, leave a poor taste in, like, Korean society's mouths. And so it's just, like, and there were, like, talks, like, oh, she's, like, mentally unstable, or, oh, she's, like, just trying to get attention, and, like, oh, that's what happens with, like, child stars. Like, they just kind of, like, lose it, and so Sully just hasn't been portrayed in the media that well because, like, she, I guess, would do these quote-unquote stunts. Like, Sully wasn't, like, the figure of, like, stability. Like, I'll just say that.
And that's good to know. Like, all I knew was, I think in the past couple months, like, she actually came out with a single as a solo artist, but I don't know what the reception was.
It was pretty decent.
I just know, like, we've talked about some celebrities before. I think, like, the last one that we actually recorded was talking about Robin Williams, you know? And since then, there's been plenty of other celebrity deaths. I guess there's, you know, like, a handful every single year. Anthony Bourdain, Chester from Linkin Park, and then Chris Cornell. But
Jonghyun from SHINee, since we're talking about K-pop.
Yeah, and his was... How do I want to say this? So, like, with both SHINee and FX, those weren't my groups, right? But with Jungkook, like, he produced some of the songs for SHINee, right? He composed them, like, he
not just SHINee, but other people as well.
Yeah,
like,
and
people outside of SM.
So he was creative. He had so much talent, but for him, like, he felt like he didn't, right?
Yeah, he never felt adequate, and then, which doesn't help because, like, he wasn't considered, like, the best-looking member either, and he was the shortest member, and so, you know, like, how Asia can be with, like, appearances.
Right, and I remember, like, again, I wasn't super well-versed with him, but reading that, like, that gutted me. Like, for Sully's death, that stands out to me is, like, dude, she's 25, and anytime I hear, like, young deaths, whether it's, like, celebrity or not, especially when it's, like, connected to suicide, I just think, like, man, that's so fucked because where was I when I was, like, that age, you know? And then for me, 25 was, like, the year I came back from Japan. Like, I left that stability. I told myself I wanted to do something bigger and better without having any idea that was. I've had, like, kind of like a tumultuous run trying to sort things together. being dissatisfied with Arkansas, considering grad school, this and that, and like just to imagine like if that was like the game over period of my life, like that would suck. And one of the things I also want to talk about is just mental health advocacy, where I'm not trying to I'm not trying to shoehorn us in this position like we're experts or, oh man, we're so woke, we know how to solve this crisis, because we definitely don't. But sometimes, like, when I see situations like this happen, like, what do people do? It's like, oh, hey man, like, if you need help, you should get it, and here's a phone number you should call. And it's like, okay, well, should people know that they have resources for them? Sure, but are they going to make use of that resource? Are they going to like take advantage of it? Probably not,
Especially in Asia.
Yeah. And again, I don't know how to solve it, but I don't know if like you have any kind of inklings of that as to what you just said, like especially not in Asia, right? But do you have any hope of like things like slowly changing, or do you see certain behaviors that make you feel better or even more concerned? Because like I see this.
I feel like a lot of the celebrities now, they start to use their platform to talk about like mental illness, and then like even though I'm not a huge fan of BTS, they always like talk about that, like loving yourself, getting help, and whatnot. And so like I feel like the message is out there, whether their society is ready to understand and to move forward in terms of like finding the steps to actually help these people. It all depends.
Right.
But like I think the conversation is now open, but I think there's a lot of they need more time to really like adapt like new techniques and policies to help these people, because like even in America we are more progressive in terms of mental health, but it's still not perfect here either.
Right.
And like the stigma is much larger there, and then like suicide is more normalized over there.
I look at this with like how fandom can be, and like people who really look up to musicians as their idols and they like try to replicate or emulate their life. Like when Chester died, there was like a lot of fans who, or I can't say a lot, but there were a handful of people who also followed suit and killed themselves. And I don't know
Really?
I don't know if
Wow.
something like that would happen here. I don't know if like that happened when Junghyun passed away, but again, like there no clear solution. Please don't kill yourself. It just it baffles me. It frustrates me. It just makes me really sad, because one woke attitude that I've had this past year is, before I'd try to like give like that blind optimism. It's like, hey man, hang in there. Like you just got to remember like there's brighter days ahead of you, and maybe it's like, hey man, optimism is a choice, or negativity, you just need to get the right mindset. And it's like, when you're feeling so down, I think a lot of people are aware that they shouldn't feel that way. It's just like they have such a burden of hopelessness, and I don't know, like maybe instead of trying to make something like bigger and grander, like how people like to be persuaded by like epic motivation in like the fitness sphere, like I think people try to adopt the same type of mindset with like living, and sometimes maybe you just gotta make it simple, make it petty. Like, are you looking forward to like some movie release? Like, are you looking forward to playing some game? Are you looking forward to a song that's coming out?
Or they can take my approach when it comes to working out. Like, I don't enjoy working out, and then when I look into like the Fitspo community, it's like they just sell this like motivation, you can do, get it girl kind of thing, and it just doesn't work for me. Like sometimes duty is enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just like duty to yourself, duty to your family. And then like I think in American terms, like duty sounds terrible. Like it's just kind of like, because here it's like I live for myself. Then make the duty for you. Being Asian, duty is so easy. Like that's like I form a lot of good habits because like it's my duty to make sure I'm hydrated for my health. It's my duty to do this. And so like I know while in the West, like duty is just kind of like, oh, that's not how we do things. But like sometimes you need to have duty for yourself in order to live a better life.
I'll sidestep that for a second. If it's not duty for yourself, like do duty for something else. Like I know in a lot of forums, like people who've shared thoughts and like their own experiences with like suicidal thoughts, like the thing that talked them out of it was thinking about their pets. Like, if I'm not gone, who's going to take care of my dog or my cat? Like, who's going to
Oh
feed
my
them?
God. Can I rant about that for just a second? Okay, I love my dog. I'm obsessed with my dog. He has an Instagram. Like, love that dog so much. But there is such a huge burden on me now to absolutely live until he dies. And not that like I'm suicidal, not that I want to like kill myself, but there's like so many things I think about. Like when I'm in the car, it's like I absolutely must not have a car accident because who's going to take care of my dog? Or like if I'm flying, like it's like, oh my God, please like don't let the plane crash because like I absolutely have to take care of this dog.
Hmm.
And so like I know like it's just a dog and not a child, but it's just kind of like as much as I love him, there's a huge burden in loving for me. Because you know, like the thing is like, let's say if I didn't have a dog and then like a plane crash, and that would suck. That would suck. But I won't have this thing like, oh my God, who's gonna take care of him?
Right.
So it's just kind of like,
And that's what I'm kind of talking about, though, because it's funny
oh
because like you use the term burden of loving, but for some
yeah,
people that burden of loving is hashtag motivation, hashtag get
yeah.
it, you know?
It's true. Like it's just kind of like there's a lot of things like in duty of my dog's health, I have to live. In duty of his health, I brush his teeth every day.
Wow, that's love.
It's I feel like it's Asian love because there's like moments where like Courage is like a very good dog, but in my head I'm like, oh, you could always be better, and I'm like, fuck, I'm an Asian mom.
But yeah, like that's another perspective because like I'll be honest, like one of my character flaws is I do get pretty petty and I do get very judgmental of like other people, and I'm trying to work on that. But in the past, when I'd hear about some people's life goals or like what they deem as their purpose, like I would judge that. I would say like, oh, that's so simple, or like, oh, like all you live for is to like get married. Like you should be pushing for even more. Now, me being a little bit more enlightened or just seeing like a better perspective, like, whatever you have that keeps you going, that gets you excited, like whatever that you have that you can look forward to, like get more of that stuff. So like for the people who like their dream is to get married, or like their number one goal in life is to have kids, or oh wow, this slob, like terrible with money, but like all they can talk about is the new Air Jordans. Like cool, like it's your life. Be as petty as you want. Like hope you're not a piece of shit to like other people. Like that. It's like another conversation. But as far as like your own life purpose and like what you want to do, like it can be anything you want it to be. So it just sucks to see all that cut short. Man, like she didn't even like reach her late 20s. She didn't even reach like her 30s. 25. Please don't kill yourself.